electric vehicle fantasy.
I love the story of Jennifer Granholm, who decided that she was going on an EV road trip. She's not the only one that's done. A couple other officials have, and they found it to be an absolute disaster.
She quickly ran into the same problem that a lot of customers do when they drive electric vehicles, and that is electric charging infrastructure is scarce, and even when you find it, it takes a long time to charge at an electric vehicle station.
Well, what they did is they knew that she would need to charge, so they would go there and park a regular gasoline-powered vehicle in the charging bay. And while they were waiting for her to show up so she could plug right in, like it was just that way for everyone, all, of course, smoke and mirrors, there was a family that had pulled up that had a baby in the car, and they needed to charge, and they wouldn't move.
It was a really hot day. A family actually called the police on them.
Columbia County 911.
Hi, I'm calling because I'm in the Grovetown Walmart at the charging station, and there's literally a non-electric car that is taking up the space who says they're holding the space for somebody else, and it's holding up a whole bunch of people who need to charge their cars.
That's not a luxury that most consumers have. They don't have a staff that can go ahead of them on a road trip and reserve an electric charger for them.
Are they still there?
They're still here, but one spot opened up, which is like not them, but there's other people who are waiting to charge, and they're still here, and they're not an electric car, and the sign says that it has to. You can't park here unless.
From the lakes of Minnesota to the hills of Tennessee, across the plains of Texas, from sea to shining sea, from Detroit down to Houston and New York to LA, where there's pride in every American heart, and it's time we stand and say that I'm proud to be an American, where at least I know I'm free. And I won't forget the men who died, who gave that right to me. And I gladly stand up next to you and defend her still today. 'Cause there ain't no doubt I love this land. God bless the USA.
Thank you very much. Thank you. And a very, very special hello to Pennsylvania. What a great place. And I'm thrilled to be back in this beautiful Commonwealth with thousands of proud, hardworking American patriots. That's what you are. And I'd like to begin by asking a very simple question. Are you better off now or that? Just remember this. I'll tell you what, you remember it. Do you like it better now or 4 years ago? Well, I ask it a different. Do you like it better now or 4 years ago? And I've come today with a message of hope for all Americans. With your vote on Tuesday, I will end inflation. I will stop the invasion of massive numbers of criminals coming into our country. Thank you very much, Kamala and Joe. And I will bring back the American dream, and we'll bring it back stronger than ever before. But this is all you need to know. Kamala broke it, and we will fix it, and we're going to fix it fast. America will be bigger, better, bolder, richer, safer, and stronger than ever before. The election is a choice between whether we will have 4 more years of incompetence and failure, which is what we have right now, or whether we will begin the 4 greatest years in the history of our country. And I'm asking you to be excited about the future of our country again. I'm asking you to dream big again. This will be America's new golden age. This is going to be a golden age, and it's hard to believe, isn't it, huh? We're talking about a golden age, but that's hard to believe because we have been so low. We've never been this low. The image of our country is terrible. It's terrible. It's a failed country. That's what it is. They view us as a nation in decline, but even worse, they view us as a failed country. We're going to turn it around. The image is so bad. What they've done to our country, this incompetent group of fools, what they've done to our country is so damn bad. And the media is so damn bad. It's unbelievable. Every inch of it. Every problem facing us can be solved, but the fate of our nation is in your hands. On Tuesday, you have to stand up and you have to go. You got to just go out and you got to stand up. We've done this for so long. This is 9 years. We have to get out. But you have to tell that horrible, terrible, the worst ever vice president. Nobody knows where the other guy is. Where the hell is he? Where the hell did he go, David? Where is he? Nobody knows where the hell. Where is Biden? Remember? We used to go, where's Hunter? We used to go, where's Hunter? Now we go, where the hell is Biden? Where's Joe? You know, when you think they stole the election. It was just, they walked in, they said, you're out. Never again. Right? That's a threat to democracy. They call me threat to democracy. They stole the election from this guy. Whether you like him or not, they stole the election. They walked in. They said, get out of here, Joe. You're out. You're dead. You're out, Joe. And man, oh, man, he likes me better than he likes her. I really believe. And you have to tell Kamala that you've had enough, Kamala. You've had enough. You're the worst ever. Kamala, you're fired. Get the hell out of here. Get out of here. You know, it's amazing. I watched her yesterday, and she's saying all these things she's going to do when she gets to office. First of all, she's got 3 more months. But more importantly, why the hell didn't she do this stuff before? First of all, none of it did she believe in. None of it. She's changed 15 different policies. She's a radical left Marxist. And if she ever heads this country is finished. And I say it loud and clear. Everything we've been fighting for so hard to achieve for the past 9 years all comes down to the next 2 days. Think of it. We've worked in this for 9 years, and we got a phony press. We got a lot of crooked people out there. We're fighting like a son of a gun. We're fighting. They are fighting so hard to steal this damn thing. Look at what's going on. Look at what's going on in your state. Every day, they're talking about extending hours and stuff. Who ever heard of this stuff? We should have 1-day voting and paper ballots. Then I just heard that a couple of states may go an extra 12 days. How the hell do you have an election? You know, they spend all of this money on these damn machines, and paper ballots, you'd have the answer by 9 o'clock tonight. It's a damn shame, and I'm the only one that talks about it because everyone's afraid to damn talk about it. And then they accuse you of being a conspiracy theorist. He's a conspiracy, and they want to lock you up. They want to put you in jail. The ones that should be locked up are the ones that cheat on these horrible elections that we go through in our country. And I don't know what's going to happen, but for future elections, I won't be even a part of it. But you ought to damn well go to paper ballots. You ought to go to voter ID. And you ought to have the election over by 9 o'clock. I'm hearing now they're going to take weeks. Can you imagine? They spend all this money on machines, and they're going to say, we may take an extra 12 days to determine. And what do you think happens during that 12 days? What do you think happens? These elections have to be decided by 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock on Tuesday night. Bunch of crooked people. These are crooked people. You know, in California, they just signed a bill that if you're an official or anybody, you're not even allowed to ask anybody for their voter ID. And if you do, you've created a criminal act or something. I mean, they only do that because they want to cheat. What the hell are they doing? The whole world is laughing at us. They're laughing at us. You know what? And if nothing comes out of this whole thing, it's going to teach you damn well better get a different system. And these bloodsuckers up there, they do nothing about it. What a shame. What a shame. That's why they laugh. The world laughs at us. They all have elections. You know, France had crooked elections because they had paper ballots years ago, and they switched. And now they have paper ballots. And at 9 o'clock in the evening, they called the winner, they called the loser, everyone home, everybody was fine. They had voter ID, they had paper ballots, they had one-day election. At 9 o'clock, it was over. They called the winner, they called the loser, everyone went home. Now they say, well, wait till the next time. We got to get smart as a country. This is just one thing. It's all corrupt. She's corrupt. She's a corrupt person. I'm running against a totally corrupt person. And I'm really not running against her. I'm running against a corrupt machine called the Democrat Party. It's totally a corrupt party. Guys like Adam Shifty Schiff, these are corrupt people. And to think he'll probably be a senator, can you believe it? Watermelon head. No, he's a watermelon head. He's got the smallest neck I've ever seen. I don't know how the hell he can hold up that enlarged watermelon head. What an ugly guy, both inside and out. But it's now or never. This is it. This is the moment. We've been waiting 9 years for this, and we got 2 days, and we got all this crap going on with the press and with the fake stuff and fake polls. And by the way, the polls are just as corrupt as some of the writers back there. They can make those polls sing. They can make them sing. They brag about it. I got a poll. I'm 10 points up in Iowa. One of my enemies just puts out a poll. I'm 3 down. Joni Ernst called me. Everyone's called me. They said, you're killing in Iowa. The farmers love me, and I love them. But they came up. They just announced a fake poll. Hey, think of it. Right before the election that I'm 3 points down. I'm not down in Iowa. I got $28 billion for the farmers. $28 billion. Nobody else would have gotten 10 cents. Joe would sleep. Do you think he thinks about the farmers? And you know who gave me the $28 billion for the farmers? China, because China screwed our farmers. And then they tell me I'm down in Iowa. I don't think so. And you know what? A good poll, Emerson, no friend of mine, they said that poll is wrong. Everybody said, why do they announce a poll that's highly skewed toward Democrats and liberals? Why do they do that? When you read it, they interviewed far more Democrats than they did Republicans. Why do they do that? Why do they do that? And I guess there's a law that they have to say that because they would have preferred not having to say that. Our country is a crooked country, okay? It's a crooked country, and we're going to make it straight. We're going to make it straight, and it's not an easy thing to do. They'll want to put you in jail because you want to make it straight. Think of it. Think of it. They cheat on elections, and you call them on it, and they want to put you in jail. Think about it. It's the most incredible thing I've ever seen, but I love it. You know why? because we've proven something, we've shown something, and we're going to get it fixed, and we got to win this election. It's all up to now. I mean, we got 2 days. We've been working for 9 years. We did a great job. We had the best economy ever. We had the wall. We had everything. I built over 500 miles of wall. They don't even talk about the wall. But we had the best border, the safest border. I won't pull down my world's favorite chart because I don't want to waste a lot of your time. But my world's favorite chart, done by the Border Patrol, it said we had the safest border in the history of our country the day that I left. I shouldn't have left. I mean, honestly, because we did so well. We had such a great. So now, I mean, every polling booth has hundreds of lawyers standing there. It's all about the lawyers. Everybody's standing lawyers. Nobody should have that. You should have a damn ballot and you hand it in. Do you know that in Arizona, where I'm winning by a lot, but it takes 4 hours to fill out the ballot. They've got page after page, and people are complaining they don't have time. It takes 4 hours to fill it out. Why is that? Why is that? I can tell you why. But so many places. Pennsylvania, I love Pennsylvania. I went to school here. I think the people are incredible. But they found, as I understand it, I mean, I don't know what's happened in the last day or so, but in Lancaster, they found 2,600 ballots, all done by the same hand. In other words, the same exact penmanship, the same hand, the same everything. It was all done by the same pen, the exact same pen. And then they go and they say, well, this is a conspiracy theorist. It's a terrible thing that's happened to our country. And the whole world watches it, even third world countries. I was telling a friend came in last night. He comes from a country, he works there a lot, and knows it. And it's not a great country, to be honest with you. And he said, but when we vote, they take our fingerprints and they check our fingerprints. We can't get away with anything. This is a third world country. In our country, think of it. You are not allowed to even ask for somebody's voter ID. And if you do ask, I think they have the right to put you in jail. Not the one that's cheating, the one that's asking, I want honesty. Oh, let's go to jail. It's a terrible thing. And I tell you what, I love being off these stupid teleprompters because the truth comes out. The truth comes out. And at least you find out that it's nice to have a president that doesn't have to use teleprompters. You ever see her? And I'm being nasty to her because you know what? She's really bad. She shouldn't have been chosen. She got no votes. This is supposed to be a democracy. You could call it a republic. People say, oh, it's a republic. Okay, whatever you want to call it. It's supposed to be fair. And they ripped the election away from this poor, stupid guy. They ripped it away. Like candy from a baby. It's the way you do. You ever take candy from a baby? Hello, darling, give me some of that candy. Just give it to me. You take it, you rip it right out of the baby's hand. That's what happened here. It's a corrupt deal, and I think at some point it's got to be changed. Got to be changed. Do you know that paper ballots, and by the way, now the machines are going to really hit me hard because, you know, they never heard anybody hit them like this, but do you know that paper ballots, paper is very sophisticated. It's called watermark. It's watermarked, highly sophisticated. It's more sophisticated than the machines they use, which can be hacked and things can happen. You know, a great gentleman is Elon Musk. Right? And I said to Elon, I assume you're very good with computers, right? They said, well, I think I'm one of the best. He said, it wasn't the engines that landed that rocket the other day. It was the computers telling the engines what to do. I think I'm good. Yeah, I think I'm really good. Well, he looked at the machines, just looked at them, and he doesn't have to look like normal people. Normal people have to rip them apart and figure out what's going on. That's normal experts. He goes like this, the machines are, oh. He looked, oh, meaning he knew the machine immediately. You know, he does this stuff for a living. So he looks, and he actually made the statement. He said, look, computers are great for sending rockets up and everything else, but there should never be machines used in voting. Everything should be paper ballots put in boxes, voter ID, also identification for the country. In other words, little questions like, now, are you a citizen of the United States? These are little questions. These aren't big questions. Excuse me, ma'am, are you a citizen of the United States? No, I'm not. You're not allowed to ask. Oh, what city do you live in? It's none of your business. I'm voting. Do you understand? Now, if you show up in a suit and tie, they say, we don't want this guy voting. You got to see what they do. I mean, what they do is so sad. But Elon is a total pro. And I saw his mother, the most elegant woman. I said, Elon, she produced you. Well, she produced one hell of a smart guy. But I'm saying, did you see his mother with a beautiful white hair? She looked like total royalty. And she said she went, I think, to New York. And she pulls out identification. No, I don't need that, ma'am. Oh, of course you do. It's my. She wanted to give it. They didn't want it. And she said, very interesting. She was interviewed just yesterday. A very smart woman. Produced a lot of smart kids, too. Not just Elon, a lot of smart kids. And she was amazed. She left there. They didn't want any information. They didn't want her ID. They didn't want identification. And she said, you know, that's a strange thing. I've been in many countries, and they always want your identification. So, look, we have a country with a massive headache, and it would go a lot longer than headache. It would be a much stronger word than the word headache. And we have to solve this problem because we have a mess on our hands. We got a bunch of cheaters that all they do is think about how they can cheat. Think of this. You know, when I run this election, we have meetings with Susie and Chris and all professionals, respected people, a lot of people, and we talk about strategy like, what do you think we're going to say, or where are we going to hold a rally, and how much are things going to cost, and what are we doing? You know, in other words, normal. When they meet to find out how can they cheat. And when you think of it, they have to. Because who wants to have policies of open borders where anybody in the world can come in, where you can, and by the way, 90% of the Democrats, not the sleazebags like Schiff and Schumer and crazy Nancy Pelosi, Pocahontas, not those people. But the people that vote, you know, the real Democrats, they actually tell me all the time, I don't know why the hell we can't have voter ID. The real Democrats want to have things like voter ID. They know it's crooked. There's only one reason you don't want voter ID. There's only one reason, and that's to cheat. There is no other reason. There's no other reason. And they do cheat. Isn't this better than my speech? No, because honestly, somebody's got to talk about it. They say, sir, I'd rather have you not talk about it. We have a certain network. Oh, if you even mention the fact that there's cheating in elections, they turn you off. I mean, this is supposed to be one of our brave, very brave networks. I won't mention which, but you can imagine. You know, it's one thing when CNN and MSNBC, crooked as hell. Look at CBS. Look what CBS did. They took this person who's a low IQ person. They took her, they interviewed her, and the main question they asked her, she gave an answer that was absolutely insane. It was a pile of words taken, mixed up, and thrown onto a board. It was the craziest frickin' answer I've ever seen. And CBS, who's licensed for free, they don't pay anything, by the federal government. Why aren't these licenses bid out? Why aren't they worth billions of dollars? All they're supposed to do is be honest. So CBS, now their main news show is 60 Minutes. 60 Minutes took her answer, realized it was a disaster. And you know they wouldn't do it for me. I'll tell you, they would love me to give that guy. And you're right. So she said, you would never mess up anyway. You're right. I mean, you know, somebody else. Hey, I sat for a 3-hour interview with Joe Rogan, and it was great. And you have to be smart. I sat 2 days ago, I sat with Tucker Carlson, and we had an interview, an hour and a half. It was at 11:30 in the evening after I did 4 rallies. And it was fine, you know. I mean, they ask you a question, you know, it's very simple. They ask you a question, and you give them an answer, if you're intelligent. But she's not an intelligent person. She was not a good student. She was a horrible student. She didn't pass her bar exam. I mean, I know a lot of people, they didn't pass it, but, you know, that's okay. But she didn't pass it. But she was a horrible student. She's not a smart person. We're dealing against the roughest, toughest, smartest. Oh, the press goes crazy. If I say President Xi of China is a brilliant man, they go crazy. He called him brilliant. Well, he runs 1.4 billion people with an iron fist. Yeah, I'd say he's brilliant. That doesn't mean he's a good person. I happen to think, I mean, what he did with COVID was, I called that along. I said it came from the Wuhan lab. And people have a lot of different theories on it. I happen to think it was gross incompetence. The doctor came out of the lab. He had lunch with his girlfriend. She caught it. He caught it. They caught it. Everybody started dying all over the place. And they suffered plenty. But these people are very smart, and they're at the top of their game. Top of their game. We have a man that he can't find the stairs off a platform, right? No, he's guiding us. And, you know, we have a problem. We don't have a global warming problem. They don't use that term anymore anyway because, as you can see, the planet, it's very cool out here today, isn't it? Oh, they go crazy when I say it. But it's not global warming because at certain points it starts to cool a little bit, like now, but like this period. And they're getting killed with global, so they changed it. You know what the term is? Climate change. This way, if it gets warmer, it's fine. If it gets cooler, if it rains, if snow comes down in the middle of the summer, it's climate change, you know. I mean, we have a girl, not a smart girl either. She's not smart. She's got a good shtick, but she's not smart. AOC +3. Do you remember how this whole hoax started? She came down and she started screaming at senators that have been there for 30 years, Democrats, and they were totally afraid of her. They're less afraid of her now, but half of them are gonzo. And we've spent trillions and trillions of dollars on things that, you know, putting windmills all over these magnificent plains and fields and valleys and oceans. And then they had one whale in, I think, 50 years come up. And then last year, they had like 18 of them wash ashore, die, and it's all a big hoax. So many things. So this is just like, we're talking about a history lesson. It's just, to me, it's more interesting than the speech that you've heard approximately 900 times, because I've been saying the same thing. You know, with a speech, I mean, I have beautiful, oh, it's so beautiful, but it's true. But it's basically the same thing. We have bad borders, and they don't do anything about them. But they're not only bad, they're open. And they do no vetting. This moron does no vetting. And she's the border czar. The border czar. But then she said, I'm not the border czar. Don't ever call me the border czar. She's a liar. Yeah, well, she is a liar. You're right about that. But for different reasons. So don't call her the border czar. But she was appointed to head the border. Now, the Border Patrol last week gave me the strongest endorsement anybody's ever given me, I think. They actually called me the greatest president in the history of our country. I said, does that include Abraham Lincoln? Does that include Abraham Lincoln and George Washington? They said, actually it does. So anyway, so they like me. But they said the best border president. They said Tom Homan, one of the top guys, he said he's the greatest president we've had. We had the best border that we've had in recorded history. I mean, it was good. And I took over a mess because I took over the mess that Barack Hussein Obama and this, who's a big divider, who's a major divider, and he's a major troublemaker, okay? And you know, I've always treated his wife with respect. Just one of those things. But I've always treated his wife with great respect. But she came at me the other day. That's not nice of her to do. And I think we're going to start having a little fun with Michelle. I think we're going to have a little fun with Michelle. But I always treated her with a lot of respect. And we just have to know. Look, so we have a very divided country. And you really have, look, anybody that wants to have open borders for 13,099 murders to come in over the last 3 years, for 16,000 of the worst drug lords and drug sellers to come into our country. And you know what they do? They tell them, if you ever come back, we'll kill you. So they don't want to leave. We're going to get them out because they're going back because, you know, see, our country is stupid enough. Our country is stupid enough that we give them massive amounts of, they call it aid, but we give them massive amounts of aid. You know where the aid goes? Into the dictator's pocket for the most part. But we give massive amounts of aid. So I told them, I said, if you don't stop behaving, I'm going to end up taking away all that aid. You're never going to see any aid. And they were so good after that. They were so good. But for the sake of your family and your country and for the sake of your freedom, you've got to get out and vote. You got to get these lunatics out of there. You've got to get them out. With your help, we're going to defeat Kamala. I don't even use her last name. Nobody knows who the hell I'm talking about when I say Harris. How is Harris doing? Who the hell is Harris, everybody? Even people that are, you know, look at all the people we have here. Look at over there. They're all over the place. You know, it's a little strange. I'm a pretty smart guy. I have genetic. Do you believe in genetics? I do, you know. Fast racehorses produce fast racehorses, whether you like it or not. And but I'm a very I believe in it, and like I'm smart. I tell the story. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. He said brilliant. Probably brilliant, but no. And we do the weave, right? This is a weave today. They'll say, and this is a very important lesson because I'm trying to tell you what's happening with our country. It's going bad. And it can never get fixed because we're never going to get the right people in because of what they do with the elections. We're going to get a bunch of crooks and horrible people. And not dumb people, by the way, you know. She's a dumb person, but the party, but she's not going to run. She's a vessel. She's a vessel, and she's just a vessel. They didn't want him, and then they found out he's perfect. He's perfect because he didn't know what the hell he was doing. They got away. But this is a group of people, large group of people, larger than people think, but it's a very demonic party. It's become that way. The people aren't. The people, Democrats, regular Democrats aren't. Most of them agree with what I'm saying. But it's very, but we do need people to say it, and we have to have it, and if it's not said, and then they're going to fight over it, they're going to call you a horrible person, and all of the things that they call you, conspiracy theorist. He's a conspiracy theorist. They don't tell you that they cheated. Think of it. They spied on my campaign, and they refused to even acknowledge it to this day, but people acknowledge it. But look at all of the things, the Mueller report, they said Russia, Trump's involved with Russia. I don't know a damn thing about Russia. Trump is involved with Russia. It was made up. You know what that was? That was an excuse for why crooked Hillary Clinton, and she is crooked as hell. And now that Joe Biden has been taken out by his party of politics. I can start using the word crooked back to Hillary. I can put it back. You know, I took it off a couple of years ago because I figured she was finished. But actually, I see her talking so much. She's got major Trump derangement syndrome. They were going to operate to see if they could fix it, but it was so severe that the doctor said it would be a waste of a surgeon's time. No, but you like to have smart, and you know, somebody said, is it true that your uncle is Dr. John Trump of MIT? I said, yes, it is. Do you know my uncle was the longest serving professor in the history of MIT, like I think 41 years or something, 39, 41. And there's something nice about that. And I'm just looking here, and I'm watching, and this has nothing to do with corruption, but it has to do with a little bit of intelligence. And I have a piece of glass over here, and I don't have a piece of glass there. And I have this piece of glass here, but all we have really over here is the fake news, right? And to get me, somebody would have to shoot through the fake news, and I don't mind that so much, because I don't mind that. So I have a piece of glass here, and the problem with that glass is I don't look great on television when you have a 4-inch piece of glass that a howitzer can't go through. No, when you see yourself on television, you say, boy, you're really not very recognizable, to be honest with you, which is good. But here's the problem. So I have glass here, I have glass here. Now, I'm not worried about this. Look, what do I have? A couple of people, and they're friends, generally. There are a couple of people I don't like in that group, but that's like, no, but look at it. Look at it. I have nobody here. What do I need this piece? But where I think I do need a piece is here. And I think, no, I'm a very smart person. You know, they've refused it. You know, now they are saying, that was the most brilliant speech. They're saying, it's a weave, you go, and then you're here, and then what happens is while you're here, there's a point having to do with that point, and you go wing, wing, then you come here, then you do another weave, he, and it's very complex, but then it gets very simple because it all comes brilliantly and beautifully together. And they actually acknowledge this total genius there. They don't, not all of them do. Most of them are failed writers. They're not even good writers, okay? They're bad writers, so they don't understand the weave. They'll never be able to do it. But here's what I'm looking at. I'm looking at cameras. The problem is, when you watch me tonight, you'll say, the president doesn't look that good. Well, how the hell do you look good? Look at the size of this sucker. Nice to see you. Thank you. So just to finish up on the list, because I don't want to waste a lot of time on the list, but it does seem sort of ridiculous, doesn't it? I don't need a piece here, fellas. I need a piece here. I need a piece. I'm not worried about these people. Maybe David. I'm worried about that. I don't need pieces. You know where I need a piece? Right there. Look, I got farmhouses. I got all sorts of see the guy up in the window back there? Has anybody inspected that? No, it's the whole thing. It's okay. It's okay. But it would be nice to have, you know, I'm trying to make a point and I'm trying to sell something. I'm telling the people that our leadership is grossly incompetent, that we're being ripped off by every country in the world, including our so-called friends. Our friends are far worse in many ways in terms of trade. The European nations are just ripping us to shreds. Everyone says, "Oh, it's so nice, the European nations." They're very tough. They're very, very tough. You know, with trade, they don't take our cars. They don't take our farm products. They don't take anything. But they give us their Mercedes. They say BMWs, their Volkswagen, millions and millions. I said to Angela Merkel 3 years ago, I said, "Angela, how many Chevrolets do we have in Berlin?" "Why, I don't believe you have any." I said, "You're right about that, Angela. You think that's fair?" So, you know, they're ripping us off. The whole world is ripping us off, and we stopped it. And we stopped it, and we took a lot of heat. I lost a little chunk of ear over it, okay? And they weren't happy with that. That wasn't good enough. That was not good. But I'll tell you what, we got to be fair. You know, we have a $300 billion deficit with Europe. Why do we have a deficit like that? And we were fixing it all. It was beautiful. Then we had a very unfortunate thing happened. I got more votes than any president, any sitting president in the history of our country. Right? I got more votes, almost 75 million votes. That's the votes that they talk about. That's not the votes that nobody knows. Actually, nobody has any idea. You got these machines, you know, it's broken. We think we might have paper ballot backup. Oh, we don't have the backup. Oh, wow. They have no idea how many. They have no idea how many votes. But according to their stats, I got like 10 or 12 million more votes than I got the first time. Barack Hussein Obama, a terrible president, by the way, a terrible president. Terrible. The worst on trade. He'd go in, and the Germans loved him. You know why? Because they ate our lunch. I mean, it was the craziest thing. The Germans would love him. They didn't love me, and I have heritage there, to put it mildly. They didn't love me because I said, you got to pay, you got to pay. I said to Angela, you haven't paid, Angela. No, Donald, we think we will start by 2035, she told me. Oh, thank you, Angela. I really appreciate it. 2035. This was 4 years ago. Oh, she's going to pay by 2035. Think of it. And they think we're stupid people. So we got to get our country straightened out, or we're not going to have a country. All right? That's all. And you have a chance in 2 days. And if you don't vote, you're stupid. You're stupid. 4 years of Kamala Harris have delivered nothing but economic hell for American workers. Her inflation disaster has made life unaffordable and cost families over $30,000. Think of it. $30,000. You know why? Because of inflation, the higher prices. You can't afford it. Bacon, sausages, eggs, apples. You know, when people talk to me, and I talk to as many people as I can because they know more than our genius experts who are bullshit. Okay. You go to the little lady that's buying 3 apples, goes to the counter, and then realizes that price has gone up by 40% and she can only afford 2 apples. And she walks an apple back, and she walks out with 2 apples. She understands very well, and that should never happen in our country. That happens a lot. They go in and they buy 2 bananas, and this should never be happening in our country. And it's happening because we have both corrupt and stupid leaders. You have combinations of stupidity, and sometimes it overflows. But you have some very stupid people in this country, and you also have some very, very corrupt people that benefit by this. They benefit by letting China rip us off. You know, I took in hundreds of billions of dollars in taxes and tariffs from China, and I'm the only one that ever did it. They've been ripping us off for years. We rebuilt their military. I mean, we're losing, now we're losing numbers that nobody even believes, but we lose to China $500 billion a year. When I came in, it was $509 billion. That was the deficit with China. We were losing numbers that were not even, now it's over $1 trillion we give them. And then you wonder, gee, they're building a lot of ships, a lot of planes. Most beautiful plane that I've ever seen is the F-22, but we don't make it anymore because it's too expensive. And you know what? You know who makes it? I saw it. I said, of course you make it. I saw one the other day. Sir, that was made by China. They copied the sucker. I mean, we don't make it. We don't make it. We got to get smart. We got to get smart. Just this week, we had the worst jobs report in modern history. This was done by sleepy/crooked Joe Biden and Kamala. You know, who knows with her? Nobody even knows. You know, we like to say, oh, she was, I don't know if she was, she probably wasn't too involved in it because she wasn't involved in anything. She's lazy as hell. But, you know, they all say, sir, make sure that you only say Kamala. Well, you know, it's probably him more. But she was there. If she was any good, she would have said, Joe, you got a mental problem. You don't have any more. Let me handle things, Joe. Let me handle things. You're out of it, Joe. She didn't say, she said just the opposite. I've never seen there was never an indication that he's mentally shot. I've never seen anything. Well, she's lying. You saw that with the debate. Even I, you know, I had a thing, I wasn't going to look at him. And I finally had to go like, what? I had to look. I just had to. I couldn't hold it. I looked. I said, what the hell is going on over there? But he had a bad debate. But, you know, that's okay. You can't take it away. You have to go through a process. You can't just say, you're out of here, Joe. You're out. That's what they did. After the debate, they went and they just took it away. You can't do that. But we have, and these numbers that I'm going to tell you are the worst. This is like a depression. And they're devastated. They don't want to talk about it because, you know, they've had a couple of things happen that are incredible. One of the things is that these numbers were announced yesterday, and they thought they were going to be able to hold them till after the election, because these numbers would not allow anybody to vote for a woman of not high intelligence, to put it mildly. I'm being extremely nice when I say it that way. These numbers are depression-style numbers. I mean, not recession. These aren't recessionary numbers. And I know a lot about this stuff. I was a wonderful, wonderful student at the Wharton School of Finance. I did great. Made a lot of money, a lot. I made so much money, it's crazy. And made a lot of money, and I understand money, and I don't say that's, you know, it's been something that works for me. And other people have other abilities, but I know this stuff. It's sort of easy for me. And our country's in financial trouble. We could have a depression. And this was just announced, and they're devastated. I know a lot of people in the White House, they're devastated that these numbers came out. They did another thing that's sort of related. 2.5 months ago, they said they had 818,000, that's a lot, 800, almost a million, 800 exactly, and 18,000 new jobs. And you know what? You know what? It was a fraud. They had no new jobs. And then just last month, they said they had 112,000 new jobs, and that was corrected and revised. But they thought that all of this would be revised right after the election. They were having a hard time holding it in because people know you have a lot of good people in our country, and they know what's going on, and they're working in statistics departments and different departments. They see what's going on. You know, you can't really hide it if you have honest people. And we had people that came out and said, a whistleblower, I assume it was, and he came out and said that the almost 1 million jobs that they added fraudulently into our employment numbers were fake. They're fake. And the press barely reported it because they're fake. They're worse than the politics. Honestly, they're worse than the politicians. They're worse than the politicians, and they're being caught. That's why their approval ratings are so low. They're being caught. I think it was a great thing I did for the country, because I don't think people, before I came along, nobody talked this way. But they're fake. And we need a fair press. And we don't need a ruthless press. We need a fair press. And sometimes that will be ruthless. But they didn't report this, or barely reported it. So they fraudulently put in fake job numbers. And the information was supposed to come out after the election. In other words, any time after 3 days from now, because then it wouldn't have mattered too much to them. And a whistleblower blew it up and released the information. And I want to just tell you that what they've done, so you add the 112,000, so you're talking about almost 1 million jobs were fake. Now, here's the difference. If they had those 1 million jobs, you would have said they did a nice job. Not great, by the way, because you're starting from a depression base. You're starting from where these numbers are, where the real numbers are that just got released yesterday. Also, they wanted to hold these numbers till after, because these numbers are worse than the 818,000 fraudulent job numbers. With only 12,000 jobs were created. That's a depression. Listen to this. 30,000 private sector jobs were killed in a single month, and nearly 100,000 manufacturing jobs were wiped out since the beginning of the year. 100. Those are sort of our prime jobs, I think. You know, we got a lot of prime jobs, but manufacturing, that's where you make money for the country. You make product, you sell the product to other countries. We lost a lot. We've been losing so much. But these are depression-type numbers, and that's where we're heading. And I always said, I don't want to be Herbert Hoover. You know, people tell me, what would you like? I said, the one thing I don't want to be Herbert Hoover, because he was the president when the Depression came, and that was not good. That was not a good thing. And that's the only reason I'm happy that this has been found out now is that now I can fix it. I didn't cause it, because they blame you for everything. Think of it. And you know, most of the new jobs that were created, you know about this, right? They went to migrants. Do you know that? David knows that. And I hope he's going to be your new senator, by the way. He's a good man. Because don't forget, your senator knew all the stuff that I'm saying. He knew it. And he sat with it. He didn't say it. He didn't reveal it. He would have revealed it. He wouldn't have let me get away with it. He wouldn't have let me get away with it, because it's so terrible for our country. But this senator that you have, he's been there a long time. And you know, it's funny, when somebody's there, I told that to David, they're hard to beat. These guys have been there forever. They're survivors. That's what they're good at. They survive. They're not good senators, but they survive. They're genius at survival. They could be bad senators, and they're there for 25 years. His father was there for 25 years or something. They're not easy to beat, but you got a man here. He's a great guy, and he should be, he's a hero in many ways. Thank you. Thank you. So we got to win. I don't think there's much of a choice. I really don't believe we have a country. Those numbers, and I cut down on a lot of them, but think of that. Almost 100% of the jobs that were created went to illegal aliens, or the new term is illegal migrants. There's no nice term. Some people say, don't use illegal aliens. Oh, what should I use? Migrant. Oh, okay. They're illegal migrants. Personally, I think the word alien is nicer, you know? But what do I know about things like this? But when you think about it, and let me just tell you one further fact, and then we're going to finish up. And I'll only do this speech once. I'm not going to do this speech again, because there's no reason to. I have 3 or 4 rallies today. I have I have 4 tomorrow. I think I've done, look, we had the greatest rallies in history. There's never been rallies like this. Look at the people. As far, look at it. We love you just as much as these people. I love you more than these people, okay? No, look, it goes back as far as the eye can see. There's never been that. I actually joke. I tell my people, I have very good people, and I tell them, in 4 years, you'll be representing a hot candidate, and he's going to come to this beautiful part of the Commonwealth, and he's going to have an audience of 250 people, right? Remember Biden? He couldn't, you know, he had the circles because of COVID. I don't know, that's crazy. The only thing good was I really thought the guy who did those circles was very talented because I'm a very good builder, and he did perfect circles. In fact, I wanted his name in case I wanted to do some. He's a very good painter, but he had 8 circles. He couldn't fill them. He had to use fake news to fill them. They were sitting there. He would have a rally, and nobody would show up. And I'd have a rally like in Arizona, and 48,000 people show up. He comes in the next day, he literally couldn't fill the circles, and yet he had more votes than me. He had more votes. And he's a brilliant guy. You know, he worked out of his basement. He never went out. He never talked to anybody. He never talked to anybody. No, this is an unbelievably, and look what happens. Ukraine would have never happened if I were president. Putin wouldn't have played. Putin didn't play around with me, let me tell you right now. And I'm the one that brought up Nord Stream. So the largest pipeline in the entire world was being built by Russia. And I found out about it. Nobody ever heard. Even the politicians didn't know. It's called Nord Stream 2. And I said to them, having to do with NATO, where we got ripped off until I came. I'm like, you know what? They spent hundreds of billions of dollars after I left. They paid hundreds of billions of dollars, but they're building Nord Stream, the largest pipeline in the world, from Russia to Germany and then branching out all over Europe. And I said, you mean so, Angela, so what we're doing is, let me get this straight, we're protecting Germany and all of Europe from Russia. We're taking a deficit. We're paying almost 100% of NATO, by the way. We stopped that quickly. But we're paying all this money to protect you, and yet you're paying the person and the group that we're protecting you from $2 billion, $3 billion, and $4 billion a month, right? This isn't working, Angela. Not for me, it's not. And we had a big meeting, all the leaders of NATO, and they said to me, sir, because they used to say, you know, my biggest fan is Stoltenberg, the Secretary General of NATO. He just left. He was a good man. He was there for a long time. He said Trump was unbelievable. When Obama would come in, he'd make a speech, and he'd leave. Bush came in, he made a speech, and he'd leave. All the other ones, they'd come in, they'd send their people, they'd make a speech, and they'd leave. Trump came in, he said, whoa, I don't want to make a speech. I want to look at the books. I looked at the books, and I realized that we were paying 100% or close to 100% of NATO. And I said, that's no good. It's no good. And then they had a big meeting because of that. And at the meeting, we had 28 countries, including us at the time. And the meeting was amazing. And the head of a major country stood up. Sir, does this mean that if we don't pay up, you will not protect us from Russia in case they get aggressive? I said, does that mean that you're delinquent? You mean you haven't paid? In other words, you're delinquent, right? I never heard that term, sir. That's an old real estate term. You're delinquent. He said, yes, we're delinquent. He said, if you're delinquent, if you haven't paid, I would not protect you under any circumstances from Russia. And the next day, you know, only a few countries were paid up. Most of them were delinquent. The next day, billions and billions of dollars came flowing in. They came flowing in. They don't write about it too much. But Stoltenberg said Trump did something I never believed, because he was there for a long time. He said for years and years, decades, nobody would pay because the United States would always be there to pick up the tab because we're run by stupid people. And so that was it. But we'll make America wealthy again, and we'll make America affordable again. And we're 2 days away from the best jobs, the biggest paychecks, the brightest economic future, despite where we start from. It's so depressing when you look at what's going on. If my opponent knew how to fix the economy, she would have done it. And I say all the time, during the debate with her, I had a debate. I debated 3 people. It was 3-on-1. I debated Pretty Boy, who's not actually as good looking as he looks on television. In person, he's really not that great looking. But I debated him and some woman that they say, oh, I have no idea who the hell she is. All I know is they interrupted me every time I said, crime is at an all-time high. David Muir goes, it is not. See what they're doing? See that horn over there? They put that horn up. Do you hear that? It's right in the field where you might have a sniper. See, that's... And I have no glass here. Yeah, I have no glass. I have glass here. There's nothing over there. They're my glass. See? Those people are my glass. I'm hearing that horn. That could be any minute now. They're getting ready. What the hell do I know? I must be wrong. I must be wrong. Probably it was probably Biden or the other one that said, screw him, don't give him the glass. Oh, you don't think? Let me tell you, I'll tell you what. Secret Service guys were very brave when I got shot. They stood right in the line of fire. And I don't want to speak out of school, but I can say from the time I got elected, these guys were fighting for more help, for more people like you have up there, great people, but they were fighting for more assets. They call them assets. I think it's an extremely nasty term, but that's what they were fighting for. They need more assets because we have big rallies. You know, we have 50,000. Interestingly, during the debate, she said, oh, and your debates don't really draw, and everybody leaves early. So then I go, because when somebody says something, I think you have to refute it, right? I said, no, my debates never have an empty seat, and nobody ever leaves early. Nobody has ever left early. These guys will tell you. Nobody. And I walked off, and I said, I killed her in this debate. There were 100 things, but I was debating 3 people. I wasn't debating one. 11 times or so, they said, no, that's not right. That's not right. You know, they weren't supposed to do that, too, by the way. ABC. It's ABC fake news, CBS, ABC, NBC. These are, in my opinion, these are seriously corrupt people. But here's the story. So I refuted. It took only about 30 seconds. I said, no, my rallies are the biggest and nobody ever leaves. And not only are they the biggest, they're hundreds of times bigger than anybody else. The other night in Milwaukee, that arena was here, the Wall. Mr. Wall, would you please stand up? This guy, he was there. You know, this guy's a very successful guy, and I think he's been to like 300 of these things. But he's great. He's a smart guy. He's made a lot of money. I don't know. He likes this better than going to see a rock concert, right? Because we do have some fun, considering we're talking about a very tough subject. It's a bad subject. It's an embarrassing subject. It's embarrassing that this could happen to our country. But in Milwaukee, they have a beautiful arena. It holds like, you know, essentially, I think it's probably a little bit larger than Madison Square Garden, but that size. And we were packed to the rafters. We could have sold it out 3 times. I wish I had the picture. I'll send you the picture, everybody that wants. And it was amazing. But there is a great spirit that this whole MAGA movement has. When Biden got up and he had that horrible scene behind him, the pink and purple, it looked like the devil. And he liked that, you know, made him look like a tough guy, you know. How do you make me look like a tough guy? And he started talking about, we will stop MAGA. We will stop. We won't let MAGA go forward. Couldn't understand. Then he couldn't find his way off the stage as usual. And I wrote him a little note. Joe, MAGA means make America great again. That's what it is. So I'm sort of finished with this whole thing, but so the fake news, some of these lame brains, I see them, I can tell you everyone up there a couple of them are good, but everyone up there, I can tell you, they're really dishonest people. I mean, real dishonest. And, you know, they call me, and when I pick up the phone by mistake, which is usually the only way they get me, but they sound so nice. It sounds like really great stuff. But let me just tell you, they'll say, some of them, that speech was rambling. That's the word they love to use, rambling. Others will say it was totally brilliant, and it was brilliant. But it's also, there was no ramble in there whatsoever, by the way, none. But you have to understand that this is something that the American public had to hear. You have to hear this. You have to go to free, strong, clear, beautiful elections. You have to have a very powerful, very strong border. You cannot let the world's criminals enter our country by the tens of thousands, by the hundreds of thousands. We cannot accept all of the mental patients all over the world. You know, some of those mental institutions in other parts of the world, not just South America, all over the world. A lot of people coming from the Congo, prisons in the Congo, they're emptying them. You know what they save by doing that? You know, have any idea what they save? They're all in our country, and the ones that aren't will be. And crime is down all over the world where they've done this. They've taken their criminals in Caracas in Venezuela, all their street crime criminals, the ones that knock the crap out of people, the ones that rob the purses and rob the stores, and they moved them here. And the fake news doesn't want to cover the story. Take a look at what's happening in Aurora in Colorado. Take a look at how horrible it is. They actually took control of apartment complexes. They're in the real estate business like me. And it's happening in it's hundreds of towns and cities. It's something that is just a disgrace. But we're pleased to be joined because it's an important part of it. We have to have good people. And if David would like to come up for a second, David McCormick, he's a tremendous person. And you really should vote for him because the other guy is a total waste of time. Thank you. All right, David.
Thank you, Mr. President. Appreciate it. Thank you, Mr. President. Thank you all for being here. We got to win this election in the Keystone State. It's a choice between strength of President Trump, fight, 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 and the weakness of Kamala Harris. It's a choice between the common sense policies, Mr. President, that you had, get our economy back on track, secure that border, open up that energy sector so we can have that beautiful, clean natural gas going around the world, keep us peaceful through the strength you'll bring, Mr. President. So thank you. I hope to be right there with you in the Senate because I'm running against the guy. I don't know if you know this, Mr. President. He's running ads standing next to you. Bob Casey, can you believe this? Right? Can you believe it? This guy is a career politician. He was born with a silver political spoon in his mouth. We need to get rid of him, get new leadership in the Senate, make America great again, make Pennsylvania great again. Thank you, sir, for having me. All the best.
Thank you, David. You got to vote for him. Look at a standing ovation. Whoa. Whoa. Whoa, this could be the big day then. We finally broke loose. Good. Wow. Look at that, David. Great job. Hi, Dina. And his incredible wife who was with me in the Oval Office, and she's as smart as they come. She's a great one, great person too. Thank you, Dina. Very nice to have you. What he said is interesting because Bob Casey, a friend of mine called, very smart guy, big guy, high intellect as opposed to a lot of the people we have to deal with. He said, I didn't know that you and Bob Casey are such good friends and so close. He meant it. I said, I don't know the guy. He had nothing to do with me. He's like a stiff. He doesn't do anything. He's there. He survives. That's all. He's a genius at survival. On survival, I give him a 10. On everything else, we don't give him. But I said, why the hell do you say I'm friendly? Because there's commercials that he shows you standing with him, and I have followed the president on the wall, on the border. It sounded like maybe he was actually going to be a Republican. Was he a Republican? No, he's a Democrat. Here's a guy who's a radical left guy, and I have the same thing in Ohio. I have about 5 of them. It's actually a compliment, I guess, you know? But they're all taking out ads. Tester is getting killed, I hope. I don't know. You know, I think he's getting killed, and he's fighting for his life, a young, smart guy, but they're trying to destroy that guy. If you look now, what they're doing to Tim is brutal. They're trying to destroy him on, you know, fake information and stuff. But every one of these senators in Ohio, Sherrod Brown, he's running against Bernie Moreno. Moreno's really good, and he should win, and I'm winning Ohio by a lot. And some of these states I win by a lot. This state, I think I should do really well. I won it the first time. The second time, I had I think, you know, look, it's a long time, great memory. I'll give you about as close as I can get. With 73% of the vote in, I think I was up by close to 900,000 votes. In other words, it was over. And then they said, there's been a minor adjustment. And around 3:02 in the morning, they found like hundreds of thousands of ballots. So I went from 73%. I kept saying, why aren't they calling one of my favorite places, Pennsylvania? Why aren't they doing it? I'm 73%, and I'm hundreds of thousands of votes up. I think I could have lost every single vote and won. Anyway, and all of a sudden they had to readjust. There was a readjustment. Oh, and that happened in other places too. You know, the reason I picked Whatley from North Carolina, because I was leading there, and it went through, and they tried like hell to cheat. But other places weren't as good as him. And I said, we don't need votes. We need somebody that can watch the votes and watch the steal. And he's doing a great job. But, you know, I mean, there's so many things happening in Pennsylvania. We're in court all the time. 2,600 votes. And I don't think there should be a problem. It was done by the same guy. And that guy should go to jail for a long period of time. Now, maybe he's not guilty. But you'd have to do a lot of talking, I think. And then we have other things in other counties. I know them all well. And so we'll see how it all comes out. But, you know, they're having a lot of court cases going on, and judges aren't particularly friendly. It's amazing, actually. You know, you go in with things. How about the one in Virginia? We have a really good governor that has become friends of mine. We had a great rally yesterday. How about Virginia? How about Virginia? Where they had all these votes and all the things that happened, and it turned out that these people admitted that they're not qualified. They admitted it. They said thousands of votes, thousands. We are not qualified. We are not citizens of the country. I think they admitted it, right? And the governor, Glenn Youngkin, good guy, very good guy, smart guy, he went in, they found it, you know. They didn't find it by accident. They found all these votes, and they went to the court, and the judge ruled against us. I wonder who appointed that judge. Gee, some people don't like me saying that. I wonder who appointed the judge, but the judge found that I think they said they didn't find him in time or something, some crazy thing. They didn't find him in time, so therefore he can vote, even though he has no idea what the name of our country is, right? And it went to another court, and it was a failed thing too. And then the Supreme Court ruled in favor. They said, you have to be a citizen of our country. Think of that. But we caught them. We caught them. And they did a great job in Virginia. We'll see what happens. Maybe we'll win. It's not in theory a swing state, but I'll tell you, we had a crowd. You couldn't see the end of it. So I want to also introduce, if I might, a man who's really brave. He went through hell. He got shot also, by the way. He got really shot. But he's come back, and he's a friend of mine for a long time. House Majority Leader Steve Scalise. Steve, thank you very much. Thank you very much, Steve. And what a good man he is. He took some bad. I went to the hospital to see him the night he got shot. The doctor told me he had a 15% chance. He had almost no chance, and he lived. I actually think he's better looking today than he was before. It's true. I told him, I said, you're a better looking guy today than you were. But he's a great guy. He took a big hit, man. The doctor said he lost more blood than anybody that I've ever operated on or tried to save. And he said, I've been doing this for 25 years. And he lived. He lived because he's a strong person. Former Democrat, presidential candidate, somebody who's very popular, Tulsi Gabbard. Tulsi? Thank you. Thank you, darling. Great. And she just turned Republican. She just turned Republican. Governor Sarah Sanders, my friend, huh? Thank you, Sarah. Arkansas, she's doing a great job. Doing a great job. A woman I have a lot of respect for. I've watched her for years. I mean, she happens to be beautiful, but I didn't watch her for that reason. I watched her because she was really a top racing NASCAR legend and did a fantastic job. Danica Patrick. She's fantastic. Thank you, Danica. I've been in those cars, and I don't want to do it again. I had one of your friends drive me around that track. I said, get me the hell out of this car. I don't know how you do it, but you had a great career. Thank you very much, Danica. I appreciate it. Sage Steele, who hosted something for us the other night. And we had a lot of fun. We had a lot of fun the other night, right? Thank you, Sage. Appreciate it. We have some incredible patriots, some really brave people, actually. One has gone through hell for absolutely no reason. They came down on him, and they came down because he was honest and he was a patriot. And a tough guy, though. He could handle it very easily. Scott Perry. Scott. And another, these are great. I go to some of the states, and I'm not even in love with some of the Congress people. But these guys are all good. Dan Muser is fantastic. Dan is a fantastic. He said 100% you're going to win the great Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. You better be right. I think he's right. Well, there's a lot of spirit here, And we even have the polls up, but I think it's much more than the polls. No, the polls, I'm telling you, you can make those suckers sing. You get the right pollster, you can do, and you really do inflict damage, when you do like this person from Iowa. Today, the election essentially is really, we're talking Turkey, comes out with a poll different from every other poll, because it wasn't even in question. It's really the opposite way. I'm way up. If you look at 3-4 months ago, Dan, I was losing states that now are walks, they're now walks. And I think you could have that here. It's called suppression. They suppress. And it actually should be illegal because in many ways, it's worse than the written word, which these guys do quite well, actually. John Joyce is a fantastic person and a brave person. Thank you, John. The other day, I introduced, at John's request, the Penn State National Wrestling Championship team. And these guys came up and they were powerful as hell. They just won the, think of it, the coach must be unbelievable. I hear he was a great wrestler too, a fantastic wrestler, like a champion. Didn't he win the Olympics also? So this coach is something, because they won 11, think of this, they won 11 out of the last 13 years. That makes him, you know, that's like John Wooden stuff. That's incredible. That's incredible. So congratulate him. But I did that for John and the whole group. And that's, to me, it's, you know, I'm into sports. I love sports. When you think of 11, but I looked at these guys, I had them up. I brought them up the days the place was packed. That arena was packed. And we could have packed it 5 times if we wanted to. If we had a bigger arena, it would have been, it didn't matter. But I had them up, and I'm looking at these muscles. They're bulging all over the place. You know, they're the best wrestlers in the country, all the top champions. And many of them were the individual champions. And I said to the audience, these may be the only people in this room that could take the illegal migrants in a fight. Outside of this little group of 10 people that I have up here, we're in trouble. In fact, I tried to recruit them for ICE, but they have other plans. I tried to recruit them. Did you know that? I said, come on, how would you like to be a member of ICE? We need you, because ICE is incredible. ICE goes into a pack of MS-13s, fists flying. I mean, somebody's got to do it. It's a nasty job, but they love it. They love the country. And Lloyd Smucker, I want to thank you very much. Thank you. Great guy. These are all great. I also want to recognize our great Amish community. Where are they? The Amish community, you know? They're a church. I love them. I trust their vote. They are the most, and you know what? They say, I mean, you tell me, this is the first time they've ever been involved. They've got on their horse and buggies, right? They don't do machinery, but they made an exception that they're able to come, and they're coming to one of the rallies, and they made an exception where they can go, but they can't drive. And I'll tell you about them. I had a barn to build, and I went out to bid, and I got all these crazy bids for a lot of money, and they bid for like 1/3 the price. They built a big barn, substantial, out to the cameras and as wide, almost like to the cameras and as wide, big barn at one of my clubs. 3 days. And they didn't use nails because they're not allowed to use metal or something. Sarah, 3 days, and the barn is gorgeous. I keep saying, I want to build another barn. I'll make a good deal with these. No, they came in, they took the wood from another location and the horse and buggies, and I never saw anything like it. These are unbelievable people. 3 days. Oh, is that the head of Truth? The head of Truth Social. Hey, that's a hot stock. What's going on with that stock? What the hell? Devin Nunes. You know, he was a great congressman. Everybody respected him so much, and he was tough as hell. He said, sir, you know, there was a man, they said, and this is what we need in our country. When Shifty Schiff and Crooked Hillary and all these people, this absolute sleaze, when they came up with the Russia, Russia, Russia hoax, you know, it never existed. It was supposed to be a one-day statement. That was their reason. Why did you lose? Because I was given a 3% chance of winning. And remember, as the evening went along, was that the greatest? You know what? We can have a better evening in 2 days if you get out and vote. We can have, Danica, we can have a better evening. This is better than winning the Daytona. This is Daytona times 1,000. But no, we can have, but I heard there's a young congressman down in the basement of the White House. He said, who the hell is it? His name is Devin Nunes. What the hell is he doing down there? He doesn't believe the Russia story, and he's going through all of the records. He was down there for months. No, this guy is like if he clamps in on you, you have a problem. And he went for months with a couple of your good friends, right? Lakash and some of your friends, but they spent months at the bottom of the White House and the basements of other buildings. I said, what the hell are they doing here? And then one day I made a mistake. I said, I'd like to meet him. He came up, he shook my hand, and then he went off and he went, I literally we didn't even sit down, right? But because he shook my hand, they said, he's in a conspiracy with the president. No, I didn't even know him. I had no idea who the hell he was. All I know is and he figured out the Russia thing was a total hoax. And he was the expert. And it was a total hoax. It was a made-up story. And anyway, when he left Congress, I said, I'm doing Truth because I had hundreds of millions of followers between Facebook, Instagram, hundreds of millions, like at the top. I had all of them, and Instagram, and all of nobody had what I had, I think. I don't think anybody. And I went from hundreds of millions of followers to nothing. They took it away. For no reason, they took it away. And I said, I have to figure this out. So I said, all right. I started doing press releases, Save America, and they were very successful, but it was a press release, but they were like hot. And we were developing this new thing. And they said, what are we going to name it? I said, and we ideally get 5 letters. And they had all these fancy names. Usually, a lot of them started with an X in front because it was hot. And they couldn't come up with a name. I said, what about Truth? Sir, he didn't say this, somebody. Sir, you'll never be able to get Truth. It's impossible to get Truth, sir. Why? It's very generic. It's very this. Sir, it's already taken. Why do you say? Because there's no way you could get it. It's 5 letters, right? I said, yeah, but it's 5. Sir, you won't be able to get it. I'm sure it's taken. Check. Go check. Go check. Comes back 20 minutes later, sir. You just bought the name Truth for $2,000, right? Right? You just bought the name Truth. Truth Social. And it's been great. But lately, it's on fire. What the hell are you doing, Devin? I made $7 billion last week. What was it up? $10 billion. No, $10 billion. So I can't get angry and say he's doing a bad job, right? I don't know, but I'm proud of you. But, much more importantly, I didn't do it for the money. I did it because, think of it. This is so cool. A friend of mine said, great guy. He said, this guy, he gets banned from Twitter and Facebook and Instagram. I was on all 3. I had over 200 million, whatever the hell you call them, right? I got banned. I went from being they banned me. My enemies banned me. And this guy came up with this great theory. He said, think of it. They ban him. They disgrace him. And he has no choice. He goes and opens his own platform, and now the suckers picked up $10 billion. They forced me into building a $10 billion. I was forced, right? That's pretty cool. Who would think that way? The guy that I'm talking about is a very sick person, but he is smart. But in conclusion, I hope you've enjoyed this, because I'm only doing this one time. I'm only doing this one time. I'm going to promise, because I'm sure I'm very late for my next rally. I'm sure they're all waiting for me. But this is the kind of thing I should only have to say once. And when they say, he gave a long and rambling speech, no. Say, it was brilliant, please say that. Nobody else could do it. It was brilliant. In conclusion, with your vote on Tuesday, we are going to fire Lion Kamala, and we're going to save America. We're going to cut your taxes, end inflation, slash your prices, raise your wages, and bring thousands of factories back to America and back to the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. Oh, you know what's nice? Look. I'm trying to tell them, because these guys are so crooked. They're worse. They're worse than crooked Hillary, which is hard. But look, everybody's standing. Do you know what that, I mean, that's a sign of respect. Everybody standing. So when they say, he gave a long and rambling speech, let them know that before the end of the speech, by a little bit, everybody stood because they heard the truth today. They heard the truth, just like Truth Social. They heard the truth. Again, the word truth. We will build American, we will buy American, and we will hire America. We want to hire people. It's time, right? It's time to put America first, isn't it? I will end the war in Ukraine. Would have never started if I were president. It would have never, zero chance. I said, Vladimir, don't even think about it. Zero chance. I will stop the chaos in the Middle East. That would have never happened October 7th. Iran was broke. They were stone cold broke. They had no money for Hezbollah. They had no money for Hamas. They had no money for anything. They were broke. Do you know, in 4 years, I had no terrorism. Can you imagine? And I stopped. I had no wars also. I did, other than I inherited ISIS, and I knocked out in a short period of time, a few weeks, 100% of the ISIS caliphate. And these idiots like Kelly and Mattis and stupid Milley, he's so stupid. They said it was going to take 5 years, and I did it in a few weeks. That's why I went to Iraq. I said, General, and I met a real general, and our military is great. He knocked him. He said, sir, I'd attack him the following way. I'd attack him from the left and from the right. I'd attack him from underneath if we have to. Well, how long will it take you? I'd say 4 weeks, sir. What I was told, 5 years in Washington by the stupid people. Anyway, but we have real, and don't worry about them being woke. You could put them in a woke cage for 2 years and they'd come out fighting. They're not going woke. The guys, those few guys on top are woke. And by the way, every one of those guys should have been fired for what happened in Afghanistan. Every one of those guys. He doesn't fire anybody. I fire Kelly. I love firing that stupid guy. But you know what happens when you fire him? If you're me, they go out in the Times and all these people, they go, how would you like to write a book about how bad Trump is? That's what happens. When you fire people, no matter how you do it, nicely or not, when you fire them, they end up writing books, and they lie in those books. They tell you, like stupid Bolton, he's one of the dumber people I met, but he was great for me because every time I walked into a foreign leader's office or the foreign leaders came to see me, including Kim Jong-un of North Korea, where you had no problem. That was supposed to be a war. You had no problem. But when I had this dumb guy, Bolton, he got Bush involved with, you know, destroying the Middle East, right? They attacked the Middle East and spent $9 trillion, killed millions of people on both sides. Millions, because I include the other side, too. Millions and millions of people. They got nothing. They came back. And I said, don't go in, but if you're going to go in, keep the oil at least. You got to keep something. They didn't keep the oil. And Iraq now has $400 billion in oil money in our banks. Can you imagine how stupid these people are? But Bolton was great. He would never talk, but he was with that stupid face and the mustache. And he'd sit back behind me, and I'd tell guys like Putin, listen, Vladimir, we have to do this, we have to do that. And he's looking over my shoulder at that dumb son of a bitch. He's going to say, they're going to blow the crap out of us. So he was a great guy. But ultimately, he self-destructed, as many of them do. But I will prevent World War III. I know them all. We're very close to a world war right now. With these people that we have, these low IQ people that we have right now, we don't even know who it is. So Putin, he's probably saying to himself, who the hell's running that place? It's like, you know, it's the United States of America. We have other countries saying, who the hell is running the United States of America? Does anybody know? Who do we speak to? I don't think he just said Obama. That's right. No, I don't give Obama that much credit, actually, because I don't think it's Obama. No, Obama likes to play golf. He plays more golf than any human being. But we'll crush violent crime and give our police the support and protection and resources and respect that they so dearly deserve. We will strengthen and modernize our military. We'll build a missile defense shield. Why shouldn't we have one? Our technology, whether you like it or not. And it's all going to be made in the USA. It's going to be made right here, too, in the great Commonwealth. We will rebuild our cities, including our capital in Washington, D.C., which is a disgusting mess with graffiti all over that beautiful marble. Those beautiful marble columns, those magnificent columns, that's when we knew how to do things. We put them up. You almost say, how did they ever get them there before tractors, before they had Caterpillar? How did they get them there? But they were brilliant. And they have graffiti on them and lots of other things. And we're going to clean up our capital, make it beautiful, make it safe, so that when you go there, you don't get shot. So badly run. We will teach our children to love our country, to honor our history, and to always respect our great American flag. We will get critical race theory and transgender insanity the hell out of our schools and fair. And we will keep men out of women's sports. I will defend religious liberty. I will restore free speech, and I will defend the right to keep and bear arms, our Second Amendment. Is that Kelly? Is that Kelly? Hi, it's Kelly. Another great person, but doesn't matter. Right in the middle of my closing, I see somebody that I felt I had to introduce. After years of building up foreign nations, defending foreign borders, and protecting foreign lands, we are finally going to build up our nation. We're going to defend our borders, and we're going to protect our citizens and our lands. We're going to protect our lands. And we will stop illegal immigration and these massive numbers of killers and drug dealers that are coming into our country. We're going to stop them cold. And we want people to come into our country, but we want them to come in legally. We will not be invaded. We will not be occupied. We will not be overrun. We will not be conquered. We're being conquered, just as though it were an army. We will be a free and proud nation once again. Everyone will prosper, every family will thrive, and every day will be filled with opportunity and hope and filled with the American dream. But for that to happen, we must defeat Kamala Harris and stop her radical left agenda. She destroyed San Francisco. We're not going to let her destroy our country. And we want a landslide that's too big to rig. And I think that can happen. I mean, I'm seeing all these close polls. Oh, he's leading by a half a point. He's leading by a point, right? I don't know. I think the enthusiasm, that's one thing. The level of enthusiasm for the Trump voters is more than double the enthusiasm for this person that nobody ever heard of. You need to get out and vote. It's very simple. And again, I don't want your money. I don't want anything. I just want you to go vote. We're going to turn this thing around. For the past 9 years, we've been fighting against the most sinister and corrupt forces anywhere on earth. With your vote in this election, you can show them once and for all that this nation does not belong to them. This nation belongs to you. It does. It belongs to you. It was hardworking patriots like you who built this country. And 2 days from now, it is hardworking patriots like you who are going to save our country. After all we have been through together, we stand on the verge of the 4 greatest years in American history. That's what's going to happen. You watch. It's going to happen quickly. It's going to happen very quickly. With your help from now until Election Day, we will restore America's promise, and we will take back the nation that we all love. We are one people, one family, and one glorious nation under God. We will never give in, we will never give up, and we will never, ever back down. We will never surrender. Together, we will fight, 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 and win, win, win. We're going to win. We're going to win. We're going to win. We're going to turn it around. We're going to turn it around, and it's going to happen fast. November 5th will be the most important day in the history of our country, and together we will make America powerful again. We will make America wealthy again. We will make America healthy again. We will make America strong again. We will make America proud again. We will make America safe again. And we will make America great again. Thank you very much. God bless you. Thank you, Pennsylvania. Go vote. Thank you. God bless you all. Thank you.